We have finally made it to the Civil War. Awesome. My name is Agos, and I'm one of your hosts here at CNN 10, where we break down big news stories into smaller, more manageable pieces, all thanks to our research team distributed evenly across the nation. Today we Hi CNN, I'm with two Southerners, and I just wanted to ask them how they're coping with the situation at hand.
I am not too sure. We can't afford anything anymore. All the crops have gone up, and everything has just been really tough for us.
Yeah, when I first heard about this inflation thing, I was thinking, well, how am I going to afford the food for the babies? And now they're crying, our kids are starving, and I'm just so worried for the future. I don't know what's going to happen. Prices have been skyrocketing. I don't know what we're going to do.
Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about the rise in inflation.
Surprisingly, unexpected conditions led to increased violence. An intense combination of both the North and As you can see, chaos was rapidly rising. First responders rushed to the scene in hopes to get there in time.
Hi CNN, I'm here with the first responders of the Civil War. Hello y'all, how would you say your job has changed since the start of the Civil War?
It's hectic.
It's gotten a lot more complicated because people are mad. And they're mad at each other and they're mad at us. It's really hard to do our jobs.
They don't want to enjoy Christmas anymore.
Ah!
This has become a really harsh reality for some people, for so many people. Please help stop the war. We don't want any more chaos.
Wow, awe indeed. The circumstances definitely didn't get any better considering that the US decided to issue war bonds, which basically meant that banks wouldn't give out gold to their customers in order to save the gold that they had left. This obviously created a financial panic, which in turn was the plan the entire time. A new currency known as greenbacks began being distributed across the country. However, this caused a financial panic because it began to clash with the old currency that people had. Well, that's enough about the economic aspect. I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Haley, where she talks about how the increased violence affected the trajectory of the war.
William Clark Quantrill was a Confederate guerrilla leader during the Civil War who is known for leading a raid on the Unionist town of Lawrence, Kansas in August 1863. To the Union, he is known as an outlaw and a killer. Native Americans were involved in many wars, one of them being the Sand Creek Massacre of 1864. A peaceful band of Southern Cheyenne and Arapaho Native Americans were slaughtered by Colonel John Chivington's Colorado Volunteers at Sand Creek, Colorado. The causes of the Sand Creek Massacre were rooted in the long conflict for control of the Great Plains of eastern Colorado. In 1863, working-class New Yorkers became angry over a new federal draft law that was issued during the Civil War. Because of the shortage of men in the military, Lincoln's government passed a new law which made all male citizens between 20 and 35 and all unmarried men between 35 and 45 subject to military duty. The New York City draft riots were essentially some of the most destructive and deadly rioting in the U.S. history.
Today we're at the courthouse with many people protesting about ending the war.
Abraham Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address at the dedication of Gettysburg National Cemetery in the afternoon of November 1863 after Union armies defeated the Confederate forces. And it was one of the deadliest battles, so he gave this speech to honor the dead.
And 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
On April the 30th to May 6, 1863, the Battle of Chancellorsville was fought, and it is known as Lee's Perfect Battle because of his risky decision to divide his army in the presence of a much larger enemy force resulted in a significant Confederate victory. And this victory produced many heavy casualties, including General Thomas James Stonewall Jackson's death.
So first, right, okay, let's talk about the Sanitary Commission of 1861. All right, it was founded by Henry Whitney Bellows as a private relief agency used to support the sick and wounded soldiers of the Union Army during the Civil War. This played a crucial role in caring for the soldiers during the Civil War. It had exceptional support in raising over $25 million and enlisting thousands of volunteers. Props to him. Okay, next we have to address Dorothy Dix and all the things she's been doing recently, the celebrity of the Civil War. She's been advocating largely on behalf of the mentally ill and responsible for creating the first generation of American mental asylums. During the Civil War, she's also been serving as an attendant super nurse. Not only did she kickstart an entire movement on behalf of the mentally ill, she also bossed around the other nurses, often making grown adults cry. I'm here with Dorothy Dix, and Dorothy, I have a question for you. How has the Civil War led to your increased advocacy for mentally ill patients?
So I've always been a really big advocate for mental health, and ever since the Civil War, there are a lot of more mentally ill people, to say the least. So I've implemented asylums to kind of keep these people safe and like work on rehabilitation, which is something that a lot of people don't really discuss these days.
Perfect, thank you, Dorothy. All right, now let's talk Copperheads, those dirty Democrats during the Civil War. Here come the peacemakers of the Civil War. This faction of Democrats opposed the Civil War and wanted to make a peace settlement with the Confederates. And like the good-hearted American people always act, Confederates simply said, kill them all. All right.
The Cold Harbor, Virginia was the place where the Battle of Cold Harbor took place in 1864 during the American Civil War. The Battle of Cold Harbor was by Robert E. Lee, last great victory of the Civil War. He was outnumbered almost 2-1. He entrenched veterans, caused massive losses in Grant's army. Many of Grant's troops were new recruits of rear area troops facing the first battle, which contributed to the disaster. It all started with Grant's launch of a frontal assault on the Confederate defenses. Reason for the assault was Grant believed that Lee's men were overextended. Sherman's March to the Sea was an American Civil War campaign lasting from November 15th to December 21st, 1864. It was about Major General William leading troops to Georgia, pillaging the countryside and destroying both military outposts and civilian property. The purpose of the march was to frighten civilians and the population into abandoning the Confederate cause. Sherman's soldiers did not destroy any of the towns in their path, but they stole food and livestock and burned the houses of barns of people who tried to fight back. That is first.
The Appomattox Courthouse Surrender was a battle held in Virginia on April 9, 1865, and it led to Confederate General Robert E. Lee's surrender of his army of North Virginia to Union Grant. The significance of the battle was how it helped the understanding of the struggles and changes that the country endured. The 13th Amendment in Reconstruction was the period of time where slavery was abolished in all American states. The amendment was passed by the Senate on April 18, 1864, and the Congress on January 21, 1864.
Here's your amendment abolishing slavery.
Pass. The 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln's assassination was planned out in advance, and one attempt failed at first. Both were apart from others. He was a member of one of the most famous family actors in America. He snuck into the president's booth and shot Lincoln in the head with a pistol, and on his way out, Booth broke his leg. Breaking news. We just got notice that the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, just got assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. I don't know what this could mean for the future, but who knows.